demographic or age, which is where dance music has a significant edge when it comes to drinks brands. If a mobile phone manufacturer wants to look sexy, then give them something sexy. Right. If you've got a car manufacturer that wants to attract more female, go for something with a more female skew. The problem is that we often find people just aiming at the wrong places when actually with a bit of direction they could hit it right on.
That's I think something else you can do is ask the artists themselves. I mean, they're going to have opinions. I know what brands I like. And, you know, for example, let's say the Ting Tings. I know that Katie wears Converse All-Stars all the time, so maybe that's a good idea for us to pick up.
Yeah, holistic fit.
Yeah,
it might be right in front of you. If you start with a good holistic fit, then you don't end up in the bubble car.
Exactly, yeah. No bubble car.
A question so far? Not a question in the room? Okay, then a question for you. Is the future of music all brand supported, yes or no? Oh, it's you. How are you? I had a wonderful conversation with this gentleman yesterday. You should talk to him for a while.
I was just wondering how strongly are you guys in the higher end of the industry feeling the crisis worldwide today?
There's a crisis?
Okay. So,
no,
good. That's it.
That actually touches... No, that touches on something I was going to say earlier, actually, when we were talking about the flexibility of smaller independent companies. I personally, at the moment, since the economic crisis, I'm finding a lot of people that have a lot of money to spend at brands, but they have small amounts of money. It's much, much harder for us as a big corporate giant to secure six-figure deals than it is for people who have really, really credible music, who have control over the artist's rights and control over artist content, to close smaller deals that will, you know, probably cover your bottom line.
I'm also finding that with the bigger clients, we're benefiting from the crunch in terms that they're reducing their spend on TV and big media spends and pushing it on experiential sponsorship, where, you know, their money will go a lot further. They'll get 6 months of activity versus 6 weeks on a TV campaign. So I think there are benefits in this environment for, you know, music generally.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, what they're looking for is better value. Yeah. One of the big themes for the ad world and the brand world is accountability. So one of the things that they have to do is be able to show that this particular spend, this particular brand association actually worked for them. So what they are doing is pushing the deals harder in terms of rights, content, being able to wrap themselves around a deal in order to show some palpable value. But that's where they're holding the money back, and the spend is still holding back as well. So it's good news for the people in the room.
I think one of the best anecdotes I've heard in the last year is one of the major brands, and you may know who, I don't actually know who it is, passed an edict that the person who signs an artist to a sponsorship deal can never have any contact with that artist. That basically you can't sign Madonna because you like Madonna and you want to go to 50 shows this year. So whoever the brand manager is, he can't make a deal and then go on the road and hang out with the artist for the next 6 months.
Yeah, but never get any deals signed.
Exactly. But
I said you never get any deals signed.
Oh, okay.
But the converse to artists is that when a big brand has paid you a 6, 7, or 8-figure sum, don't say behind at the backstage at the showcase, "I'm not going to meet that. See you next Tuesday." And you know, that's the kind of thing that I have seen. Is that what you've got? And I say to the artists, well, look, if Lucian Grange came in the room, you'd shake his hand.
Right.
Why won't you have a picture taken with the FD?
Yeah.
You know, it's a small thing in relation to trust and actually understanding that, you know, it's a two-way thing. They have actually paid for you, and it's about respect.
We did. Just one other little anecdote. We did a Coca-Cola sponsorship a few years ago with a major artist, and the deal we made with the artist was we made no promise that they had to meet anybody. But every night they would say, "Is there anybody from the brand there?" And we'd say, "Yeah, they are." And they'd say, "Okay, bring them back." As opposed to, you have to meet this brand and you have to shake hands with this guy and get a picture taken. When the choice became theirs, every night they met with everybody. They never one night said no. But they didn't want to have a gun held to their head that they had to do it. Any other question? Oh, right here, yes. We'll get you a mic.
How many times a year?
We'll get you a mic with volume.
Hello.
Not yet.
How many times a year the companies think about the next campaign, and when is the best season through the year to present your project to your manager, and the manager pass it to the company?
It's a good question.
So what's the lead time and what are the cycles?
Well,
Jason's probably.
well, in the UK, we normally work to a financial year, which begins at the 1st of April. So I tend to do most of my planning post-Christmas, so January, February, March, or January, February especially, is definitely the best time to get proposals in. That's when I put my proposals in if I've been approached by someone like Matt, the broker, and we say, look, they've got this opportunity, and we try and build that into their overall budget. But I don't know whether that works across Europe, but definitely in the UK, January, February time definitely is a good time to fish.
I think, I mean, it does. I mean, it completely depends on the brands though, as well.
And also, it can sometimes be linked to product launches. So it's not linked to year plan. It could be when a new product, a new title, if it's a game, for example. And so it's just, again, like Matt said, doing your research and seeing what is launching in 6 months' time. And if it's launching for Christmas, then get in there for June, because that's when they're buying their media, they're doing their deals and prepping up for the Christmas market.
I mean, I'll tell you what doesn't work, though, is, oh, I'm launching something next month, I'll go to a brand. That never works. And that's one of the key issues that the major labels have, is because the brand will knock on their door and say, hey, we've got a new Blah album coming out in 2 months' time. And that just never works for a brand. Right. You have to be thinking long term, which is why they're more inclined to wrap themselves around an artist than a particular album, which may not necessarily work for an album release.
Right. Okay. So to summarize, I'm going to go down the panel. We'll start with Alex. And 2 pieces of advice. Based on, it can be something you've already touched on, but if you were giving 2 pieces of advice to the constituency in the room of how to approach getting a brand sponsor involved, what would it be?
Okay, so I think the first point, just from my perspective, is major labels aren't all bad. There are some good people in all of the major labels, and you know, you can trust us, and hopefully I'm one of them. So that's a personal thing, and I think on the other point is know what you want and make sure you know who controls what, and make sure that everyone's talking to everyone and there's communication and transparency. Then you're fine.
I would say be absolutely 100% confident in what it is that you're selling and understand how you can break that down into assets that can be handed to a brand. So don't go unprepared into a brand conversation, because if you screw it up the first time, they probably won't ever listen to you again. The second thing I would say is that face-to-face contact and relationship building is absolutely imperative. Your number one goal should be to get in front of the person that makes the decisions, and after that you then develop a personal relationship. If they like you, the chances are you're going to get somewhere.
Mine are 2 words: under-promise, over-deliver.
For me, I think the innate irony of the music business is it's always been about hearing, but it rarely listens. So I would just say that what they need to do is just listen. That people within the music business, when somebody says, we'll do this, this, and this, and they go, no, we'll just do that. Right. There's all of that in relation to these brand partnership deals, because they're all about trust. And 2, get a good lawyer.
My 2 pieces of advice are keep it simple and under-promise and over-deliver.
Yeah. I guess mine would be don't wait for it to come to you, get out there and get amongst it. And secondly, I also completely echo the over-deliver message.
Mm-hmm. And get a good manager.
Yeah, and get a good manager.
Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
Okay, just very quickly, in 10 minutes' time, we've got the IMS Vote for Real, where we've got 20 questions for you all to respond to very quickly. 10 minutes' time. Thank you.